Welcome back, investor. We have another episode of Passive Income Adventures today with you. For our guest is Brent Bowers. He is a vacant land flipper, and we're going to talk about tax benefits of doing that, cash flow versus holding properties that have buildings on them, like the whole 9 yards. We're going to get into mobile home parks and how to just kind of figure out your direction in this investing world. Do you want to do this as an active operator? Do you want to be a passive investor? And all of the questions that you can start to ask to do your due diligence before going down any up the rabbit holes. And so the show is basically helping you figure out what you want your life to look like, having your own adventure. And I'm going to put my experience and my guest experiences on to help you figure out how to pay for that lifestyle. My husband and I started investing pretty aggressively in real estate about 8 years ago. I was an active multifamily operator. And about almost 4 years ago, he retired. I was 46, he was 48, and started traveling full time, kind of dabbling in some business, raising capital for various things. And over the last couple of years, we've just kind of gotten to the point where we are more investors and limited partners ourselves. And I want to put more education out there for people who want to be truly passive investors, and dispel some of the myths around passive income. That's not running a hands-off business. It is investing money in someone else's business. Although a hands-off business might be a good choice if you don't have quite enough money where you can invest in other people for a full-time income. And so Brent and I are going to get all of these issues today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me on the Passive Income Adventures, Emma. This is really cool. This is exciting.
Yeah, let's go on an adventure. Learn about your adventures, what you're doing. Tell me a little bit about your background. What kind of brought you up to this point? Because I know you've had some successes and failures and turning and pivot points in your past to kind of bring us up to the present day to what you're working on right now.
Absolutely. I always wanted to be a real estate investor. Always. I was
Okay.
reading The Art of the Deal in high school by Donald Trump. And then I got my real estate license in 2007, bought that first rental investment property in 2007, and then, kind of rode through 2008 and then 2009. I was like, you know what? This sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a realtor. That really sucks.
Mhm.
And then I saw it in my mind. I pretty much quit. I was like, this is the worst time to be an investor, which actually for some people was absolute best time to be an investor. And I wish I would have known that back then, but I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to join the military. I'm going to start over. I'm going to go back to college. And I did a couple deployments to Afghanistan, got to live in Germany for 3 years, got to live in Afghanistan for a couple years. And then 2013, I got started back in real estate, bought another rental property, and then 2015 hit, and I was got married, and basically we were about to have a baby, and I was like, I need to get out of the military. So I was kind of like haphazardly investing in properties, wholesaling houses, and then I found land investing, and I just took a bunch of massive, imperfect action, got very lucky many times, and then I just kept doing it over and over and over. And this land was not very good land. It's like inefficient, not buildable, not accessible. And I started seller financing a lot of it. So before I knew it, I had built up an income of almost 12 grand a month net profit coming in. And I was able to leave my job, my military career, in 2018. And I've been pretty much doing this ever since.
Well, okay. Those are the kind of numbers that most people, when they're looking at like passive income or a business, start like the 10K a month is like the magic number we hear all the time. But due to inflation, I
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
now 15 and a half, right? So
Yeah, that
just,
wasn't enough now.
I know exactly. I got 6 kids, so I probably need like $30,000 a month. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's something. Okay, so I've never really dealt in vacant land before. My sum total of experience in land investing is we bought a couple of warehouses in downtown Salt Lake City in order to tear them down to build a high rise. And so what we ended up doing, once we had a triple net lease on the warehouses, and while they were functioning, and then they moved out, and we tore them down. And for that couple of months before we sold that project, we owned some vacant land. That's it. We didn't sell or finance, so we didn't do anything great, and we didn't really flip it. I mean, I guess we flipped it to a high rise, but I feel like I don't know anything about it. I've interviewed people on the show a couple times about vacant land flipping, and everybody seems to have a little bit of a different niche that they're going into and how they do that. Can you describe what
Yeah.
your unique selling proposition, I guess, like what is it that you look for? What's your buy box?
Yeah, so it's changed. It's changed over the years. For a while there, I really just wanted to have the passive income for something you talk about a lot on your show. Passive income adventures is the lifestyle freedom or the
Yeah.
lifestyle design. Kind of like I learned it. I was like infatuated with the 4 hour work week. So I was like, this
Mhm.
is my 4 hour work week. I don't spend even 4 hours a week on my land business anymore. But my model went from seller financing a lot of land, getting that monthly cash flow covered, so now everything else is just pure gravy. You get pretty bored just laying out on the beach and
Yep.
going on trips. I'm a builder, so I always like to build something. So then we built the land sharks. We started training people how to do this. Have had a blast with that over the years, just teaching other people how to invest in land. Then we started flipping bigger parcels, more expensive parcels. Then we got into subdividing and creating neighborhoods. We actually just selling one of those on in like 2 weeks, our last one on another subdivide we just did.
Congratulations.
And then what got me most excited is putting brand new mobile homes on our land.
Yeah.
And I love to tell you that I saw that was a plan, but it took me years to realize, holy cow, every time that I make the most amount of money on a piece of land or I do very well as far as profit, it's usually to a person that's putting a brand new mobile home on it.
Okay.
And I kind of finally did the math and I saw the numbers and I was like, okay, I'm making 20, 30 grand every time I flip one. But now when I put a brand new mobile home on it, I'm doubling that, sometimes tripling what my profit would be. So I was like, this is a no brainer. So,
Mhm.
and I actually learned it from someone else in the Land Sharks community, Robert and Chris. They were already doing it. So I kind of just picked up on their system. So I'm pretty much selling almost one every 2 weeks now. And that's been kind of how we've transitioned over the last 12 months. And it's been nice and scalable and repeatable because here about a year ago, my land that I used to sell in a week is now taking 3 months to sell.
Yep.
That's no fun. It's okay. It's still very profitable. However, I like the more consistent, I like a bigger buyer pool. And the seller financing is still doing well, but it's fun just providing that affordable housing that this country so desperately needs. And then you talked about the tax savings. There's not much tax savings in land, but we use that money to buy buildings
Mhm.
so we can lower our tax bill each year. So I was trying to kind of come full circle with that.
Yeah, definitely. So you're talking about subdivisions, and mobile
Mhm.
homes. Now, to be clear, like mobile homes are a vehicle. Like, so I mean, it is a depreciating asset. I do get depreciation from my mobile homes, but it's not the land value goes up, but not as fast as it would as if it was improved with a permanent building. How do you navigate that? And are you doing mobile home parks, or are you just
Yeah.
doing like people who want a mobile home on their own acreage?
Yeah. So no, I actually am buying mobile home parks
Okay.
with the money we make from land flipping and flipping brand new mobile homes on land. We call them land mobile home packages or sometimes
Okay.
called land home packages.
Mhm.
But I buy the mobile home park. That way, that money keeps making more money,
Mhm.
as well as the government allows us to depreciate these rental properties with things like cost segregation. So it's giving me a bunch of little things at once. One, it's allowing our money to make more money. Two, it's getting us rental income where the tenants pay down our mortgage. Three, we have appreciation where that property will be worth more, 20 years from now, 15 years from
Mhm.
now when I'm ready to retire, like yourself. And four is the government also allows us to depreciate it and in essence, like take reduce our federal tax bill. Like,
Yeah.
because on a land deal, I'm generally paying like anywhere from 30 to 40 cents on the dollar that I actually make on a land deal. So if I can keep some of that money in my pocket and put it in a portfolio over 10 years, that creates a deca millionaire. Really, if you kind of do the math. And I don't want to get too much into that, but it just gives you multiple things because at the end of the day, we get into real estate to build wealth, not to be on the hamster wheel forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's some of the misnomers of real estate, though. Let's talk about that a little bit because, well, there are 2 things I wanna ask about. The hamster wheel and the kind of the misunderstanding of passive income and how real estate can generate. what the IRS calls passive income. I don't really think it's passive income. I put up with buildings on my properties for the depreciation, for the tax benefits. It's a lot of work,
Mhm,
right? I can
mhm. Oh,
imagine
yeah.
that vacant land is much less work, but you don't get the
Mhm.
same tax benefits. But then you've got kind of this mobile home park model where if they own the mobile home because you're selling it to them, so they own it, but then you're getting depreciation on the underground improvements would depreciate on a shorter schedule than above ground
Yeah.
stuff. And so we get great depreciation on our mobile home RV park because most of what we own is under the ground.
Yep. Yep, and then also these mobile homes depreciate faster than most buildings as
Right.
well, so you get a massive benefit from that, and then we eventually sell them, the mobile homes, to our mobile home park tenants. We call them
Mhm.
tenant buyers. That way, they own the mobile home now, and we don't have to do as many repairs. I really just want to collect lot rent. I do not want to be a landlord. Well, I'd like to be the landlord, but I do not want to be a landlord that has to fix stuff. Hence
Yeah.
the land. You know, my
Yeah.
first land deal ever, I sold. Actually, my first land, it would be my second land deal. I sold for $400 a month, for $500 down, $400 a month. Well, I only paid $500 for the land, so I got all my money back out of the deal, and now I'm
Yeah.
getting $400 a month net, and I never have to fix anything. Let's talk about my first rental. My
Yeah.
mortgage payment was 750 a month. I'm collecting 900. So that's giving me what, $150 a month net? Well, what a what a terrible situation I was in. Because
Yeah.
the water heater breaks in two
Yep.
months. Well, there went my net for 2 months. Then the roof leaks a year later. Then the septic system goes out. I own that property from 2007 to 2019. I sold it for exactly what I paid for it. And all those years, three evictions later, plus all the improvements, it was just a big
Mhm.
mess. You know, my
Yeah.
first deployment to Afghanistan. Uh,
Oh, that'll turn anybody off
uh,
to investing. I mean,
yeah, and I'm not learn
no,
from my
no. No,
mistakes.
no, people need to invest anyway, but these kind of scary things, because I mean, I've lost money in investing, you've lost money in investing, but I just think it's really important to just share our experiences, because the networking and talking to people like you has made me more money than I've lost, right? I have been talked into some projects by some people in my network I wish I had not done, right? But overall, I've had a net gain. So, who were you working with? You mentioned that you're reading a lot of books and you're getting really into it, and you were out there doing the things, kind of getting your shirt handed to you in that rough period of 2009. But who were you learning from? Who was your network? Did you have a mentor? Like, it's. I always say it's like trying to learn how to play the piano by reading a book and never having a piano or a piano teacher. So, were you
Yeah.
kinda doing it that way, or what were your resources?
Yeah, I was definitely reading books. I had went to seminars, but I think where I lacked was actually having someone that I can say, "Hey, let me run this deal by you."
Mhm.
Was having someone that was further along or where I wanted to be, which I didn't have that person. Going to seminars, you don't get to talk to those people anymore until you book the next seminar and then ask more questions. It's like, where was
Right.
that guy on Monday when I went
Yeah.
out there and made all these offers and one got accepted? So I think also, and here's the thing, I would not trade any of this. I would still have done it exactly how I did it. Well, I still would have taken the steps. I
Yeah.
wish there was a couple little things I would change, but I'm glad I took them because I learned so much from it and how what to do, what not to do.
Mhm.
So some people just get so analysis paralysis and they don't take any steps. I'm the reverse opposite. I jump in too quick sometimes.
Okay.
But I think where I would have benefited was having someone that was further along than I was with multiple rental properties that I could, hey, will you look at the numbers or what should I buy? Because I just wanted to have a deal. I wanted to do a deal because I had been going to seminars since 2004. It's now 2007. I'm like, geez, I've been doing this for like learning about this for 3 years. It's time to take some action. So I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I find myself kinda tending a little bit more towards the middle of that, like, sometimes my scarcity mindset and my commitment to due diligence, it really does make me miss out on some things I should have probably taken advantage of. I mean, before the show, we were talking about due diligence and how much better the tools are now, how much more self-confident I feel in my due diligence that I had to learn how to do it the old old school way, right? And now I have all of these basically AI assisted tools and just databases and information like crazy. and the ability to crunch even private data when I upload like financials and decks and things like that. It's just incredible how much more I can do now. But at the same time, sometimes I'll jump in a little too fast because I'm like you. I'm like, it's just time to do something. I'd like to say I've struck a balance between being crazy and being conservative. But I think the truth is like sometimes I'm too conservative and other times I'm crazy, and that's the balance. It all weighs itself out in the end. But
Well, they say that for a reason. Fortune favors the bold. So sometimes you
yeah,
just got to be bold and take the action.
sometimes you got to do it. Well, and then sometimes I feel like coaches, kind of what you're talking about, is like they make it sound like it's easier than it really is so that they can sell more clients in the coaching when maybe that person would have been better suited as like a passive, like a money partner. And so
Mm.
when you have coaching, and I know a lot of people offer coaching just so that they can attract private money partners, so that they can get in there,
Oh
they
yeah.
can learn a lot about it, and they become very educated investors. They're like, you know what? I don't really want to do this. Brent's really good at it. Or Emma's really good at it. I'm just going to invest with her. And that's where a lot of these coaching programs are aiming. So let's just take yours for example, because you're the one standing here in front of me. Uh, what type of person is successful in your coaching program, and what type of
Yeah.
person should either invest instead of trying to run this as an active business? Kind of
Yeah.
describe your ideal investors or your ideal clients.
I mean, you hit it on the head because we had a guy, he's about to lend me almost 200K
Mhm.
for a land deal that we're placing a brand new mobile home on. And, he was in oil and gas. So he started to look into the land and he really just never took action with it. Um, I would say the person that's usually not successful in the land business that I've coached is one, they have the golden handcuffs where they're
Okay.
making so much money over here. It'd almost be like kind of crazy to ever leave that or focus on any other thing else. Two, the person that's not successful is they just come up with any other way to do it besides the way I just showed them that's gotten me results. They're like, there's got to be an easier, better way. And they're usually really brilliant people, but they're
Yeah.
trying to find like the loophole. Like it can't be that easy, Brent. Yes, it is. It's just more about consistency. It's about taking
Mhm.
that action and having that faith that that result will come very soon. But you just got to keep taking. Sometimes making money is just boring.
Yeah.
Boring, same repetitive actions. And I'm a deal junkie. I like the endorphins. I like the adrenaline stuff. So I catch myself bouncing around, but I'm like, okay, I got to go back to the same old boring serendipitous, repeatable steps that have made money in the past.
Mhm.
So, and then I guess the last person that's not successful is they just are not willing to make the offers for whatever reason it is. Uh, we have to make offers. We have to make offers. Most of the time, it's going to be no, 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 no. And I make the offers through offer letters. I send offer letters to landowners for the exact amount that I'm willing to pay. And if they accept that offer, I know I've got an asset that's worth something now. I can sell that contract. I can buy it. I can pre-market it while I'm looking for while I'm in the process of my due diligence
Mhm.
of buying it. I could pre-market it to another buyer where I don't even use my own money. And now let's go to the person that you asked about the passive. Um, Given this presentation so many times, and I really used to give it to raise capital to do bigger land deals because I was doing the small land deals because I noticed that I was doing small land deals because my bank account was really small.
Yeah.
So I was sharing with people what I was looking for. Hey, here's my entire land business. I'm doing 12,000. This is back in like 2015. Okay, I started a meetup in Colorado Springs. It's still going. But I was sharing the entire business. And I was like, guys, if you don't want to do everything I just mentioned, it was a lot harder back then too. We didn't have all the tools. I
Mhm.
said, if you don't want to do everything I just mentioned, I am looking for private capital that I could pay anywhere from 8 to 12% interest on. We secure it with land. We're buying it at a discount, so your money's safe. We get a first lien holder position. We do title insurance policies, lenders and title insurance policies. So if you're looking to be more passive and want your money to work for you, that's what we do. And it's funny, those guys would ask me, how much for you to teach me this business? So it was like I would either get one or the other, it seemed, or I guess there was three people. The passive person, the one person that wanted to do it, and the third person is like, no, I want to do multifamily.
I'm out. I don't like, yeah, and but that's what you're doing. It's like a heavy repelling of people who are not suitable, and then at the same time attracting the people who are suitable. I have a term I refer to. I have enough listeners that I refer to as broke bros. You know, the guys who are always looking for the passive income. They're buying Gary Vaynerchuk calls them the stupid effing courses, right? Like, then that's why you don't have any money. And that chase of that passive income dream that they think it's going to be easy, and the passive income should be passive. I'm like,
Mm,
no, passive
that's the word.
investing and running a hands-off business are not the same thing. Do you have some of the broke bros where they don't have money to invest, but they also just don't have the temperament to just say, like, "This is a business, y'all."
Yeah, that's true. I've had people that get in, they're like, listen, my wife told me I can't spend any money on offer letters. Like, so you're telling me your wife won't let you spend any money to send an offer letter out through the United States Postal Service? Yes, that's true. So, like, this is a business, and most
Mhm.
businesses don't even make money for 5 years. I've seen, like, I mean, I'm living proof of it. I made money within the first couple months of sending offers to landowners. I've seen CEOs of hospitals leave their job because they
Okay.
made more money in 3 months than they did the entire year running this hospital. So it's definitely doable, but you've got to look at it as a business, not a slot machine, because a lot of people are like, all right, I'm just going to, throw a bunch of money at this, use the credit card. No, you got to come up with a budget. Here's what you can spend on marketing every single month for the next 6 months, even if you don't do a deal. And hopefully you don't have to eat ramen noodles because of it. So that's like the first thing. And then
Mhm.
people are like, okay, let me come up with a budget. You telling me you have no clue what your finances are right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I can't judge people because I've been there. Like, I totally have. I use
Yeah.
this like a slot machine. The first 687 offers I made on the first like 10 land deals I bought was borrowed from American Express. I had to
Yes.
pay it back though.
I mean, I've done some business move like that before, but I was interviewed on just an entrepreneurial podcast a couple of years ago, and he said, "What is one thing that you could tell business owners that they need to do, learn, whatever, to be successful?" And I was just like, "Learn how to do a P&L." I cannot
Mm,
believe how many business owners are out there that don't even know what that is, much less ever make one. It's kind of like people who never make a budget even though they know they're supposed to. It's like the P&L is your business's budget. And if you don't have the ability to make a budget in your personal life, doing a profit and loss statement every month on your business is going to feel like torture. So this is what I'm saying. It's like there's no business out there where you can escape the business part and just get straight to the passive part. You got to figure out how to make money to invest money. And once you have money to invest, don't get taken in by passive income stuff that is just really a business
yeah.
in disguise. I mean, if you wanna do that, great, but go in with your eyes, wide open, and some of it should be passive and some of it should be active. Like you described earlier, like several streams of income between the land flipping, the different kinds of land, the mobile homes, some of it's a park, some of it is you own some of the homes, you seller finance, you're in the process of kind of getting all of the homes off your books so that you can just own the land. But that's multiple streams of income within the same business model. And then we're gonna I count taxes as another stream of income. If you can be smart about your taxes, you can treat that like a stream of income. And that's really the key here to being successful at this stuff is one thing is not gonna be all things. You need to be able to mix and match strengths and
Yeah.
weaknesses.
Yeah, there's always a lesson to be learning in business. You know, for a while there, it's like, okay, how do I make the money? Then you make the money. Now you're like, oh my God, where did all the money go?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my gosh, look at
Hate
this
that.
huge IRS tax bill. How do I avoid this from ever happening again? What is a balance sheet like? And then before you know it, you're paying like an accountant all this money, and then you're like trusting what they say. Like it's always something to learn, and you can't wear all the hats. I've I definitely don't try to do that. I do try and surround myself with very smart people, but sometimes you got to pay them very well, also. But yeah, it's just there's so many ways to make money in real estate, so many ways to make money with land, and then it's even harder to keep the money.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to keep the money than it is to make the money.
Yeah, I love the idea though of the, um you earn the money and then you invest the money and then you live off the gains from the investments. Or vice versa. I've heard people describe it the other way. They're like, I live off of my active income and I let my investments sit out there and compound as long as possible. And it's kind of thinking about in three processes, three stages of money, like what you have, what you've invested, like what you make, what you invest in, and what you live on, and being able to kind of balance that in your head. Um, it's just if you can't do that, delayed gratification, real estate's not. I mean, any business is not a great fit at that point. But
Well,
I
my
want
wife's
to.
been with me over 11 years now, and she said, I finally understand that real estate is a patience game,
Yes.
because she's seeing what we're holding, paying down by tenants,
Mhm.
appreciating, hopefully. It doesn't always. There's an 18-year cycle. Like there's a great book called The Secret Life of Real Estate Investing and Banking. It's a
Okay.
big book, but I can explain it in like 2 sentences. There's
Okay.
18-year cycles.
Yeah.
Figure out where we're at in the cycle. We're coming towards the end of the 18-year bull market.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. And people were telling me when I got into this, and we left Austin like early 2018, got to Salt Lake City, and I immediately was like, I need a new business. So I started attending all these networking events. And in 2018, early 2018, before I bought my first rental, everybody was like, this is, 2008 was the last crash. We're right. We're right. 10 years, 10 years. And everybody kept saying 10 years. I was like, oh, it's 12 years now. Like, this is the longest bull run we've all 14 years. I was just like, and then we're in a correction right now. And, the bigger pockets guys are like, nobody wants to learn about real estate. Nobody wants to do real estate. But like you said, I'll let you wrap up. I'll just, to say, you wish you had known in 2009, 2010 that was the best time to be in real estate, because what you lost your shirt in was what you also should have been
Oh
buying
my
up
goodness.
other people's shirts at the same time.
I know guys, one of them, he's sitting in Colorado Springs. His biggest problem today? He's like, all my friends have jobs.
Yeah.
He bought and bought and bought from 2009 to about 2018, and just
Yeah.
started selling. Now he couldn't sell them fast enough. And it's just, if I know, obviously we don't have, like, hindsight's obviously 2020. People say, well, I'm waiting for another 2009. Well, no, you can make money right now.
Yes.
But it's like when I graduated high school in 2004, I could have bought a lot in this. I invest in this area. I sell them for $30,000 a lot now. I could have bought every lot for $1,000 a piece back in 2004, but I didn't have it. I didn't have that. I didn't have any money in 2004. I just graduated high school. I had a lawn business. But again, knowing back what we knew now from 2009, I would have went in and figured out how to buy entire cities of
Yeah.
houses, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, we had a lot of opportunities back in the day, like, early Bitcoin, and, like Nvidia was the client of a company that my husband and I worked at, stuff like that. I just like missed out on so much stuff because I not only did I not have a lot of money at that point, but I also didn't have a crystal ball. So
No,
it's
no.
so easy to look back and be like, oh, I missed the boat on this, I missed the boat on that.
Yeah.
I think real estate is a lot easier to time than ventures, and it's certainly statistically shown that it's a lot easier to time real estate than it is like public market, when to get out and buy the bottom and all that kind of stuff. I feel like because the markets just move slower, it for me is easier to kind of see those road signs than it is in
Mm.
some other industries. But everybody's different. So where do people get a hold of you, Brent?
Yeah, really. So they can go to the landsharks.com, or check me out on YouTube, Brent L. Bowers.
Brent L. Bowers on YouTube. So landsharks.com. Yeah. Like I said, I'm always telling people, like, reach out. We want to talk to you. That is why we do this show. So Brent very well described like the type of person that he wants to talk to, after the show is over, somebody who fits one of these three criteria. And you just kind of have to like figure out where you fall in if you're interested in this, and where you're going to be most useful, because everybody's going to bring a different skill set and a different set of resources. And so figuring out where you can plug in is oftentimes the best way that you can do it. Like, unless you're like me, where I don't want to run a business and I don't want to have a job and I don't want to. And so I feel like I'm like the broke bro version where it's like, oh, I just want money to be easy and I don't want to do anything. So let's just
It
figure
is
out where to
easy.
plug in.
It really
It,
is.
it can be very simple, like you said, but it takes a lot of a consistency. And I'm like, I need a sabbatical, right? But that's what passive income gives me. I can take a sabbatical because I feel like it. So if
There
you want
you
to, if you
go.
want to interrupt my sabbatical, you can get a hold of me at investwithemma.com. Right on my calendar. We can talk about all this stuff. And I'm always looking for new opportunities through networking because that's how you find opportunities in this business. Just having selfish conversations with people on my podcasts. Like I learn what I want to learn and network with who I want to network. And I just appreciate you spending your time here sharing with my viewers, Brett, what the trying to unlock the secrets because whether they're going to do it themselves or they're going to invest, sharing the information is always a win there.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me, Emma.
All right. Well, I will see all of you next week where you can listen into another conversation with a successful entrepreneur, investor, and so you can figure out how to pay for your next passive income adventure.